Hello, everyone. Hello. We are live. It's me, Snobbish, and it's Tony. No bonus content this week. I didn't even ask for permission this time. I made an executive decision. We don't know where Scott is, but he may join us once we get the show started. We'll see. He's more than welcome to. I texted him. He might have been anticipating 7:30, and he might just not check his phone until then. That's a Scott Guthier move right there. We'll find out as we go. But yeah, we're in. Thanks to everyone for bearing with us when we took last week off. I wanted to do that, I wanted to say that earlier in the week, but I forgot. As many things, I forget. I forgot to ask for questions today because I had a very hectic day. You know, these things come. You don't have to yell at me every time I make a mistake.
You can put it out now.
I could. I'll see. I'll throw it up. I'll do the tweet before we start, and then we'll if we get some, we get some. If not,
Put this in your back pocket for a bit, because it's not this week. It's not till October 17th that we'll find out about it, which is the
MPDs. Where will Control be?
Yes. No, where will the Gears of War 5 be?
Ooh, shit. Man, with Borderlands in that month.
And because of Game Pass, it's where can that possibly be at?
Yeah.
I know definitely a chart, but where will that be?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I have a guess in my head, but I'll put it in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. We are starting this.
And I know it's Gears 5. I meant to say that. I used to say Gears of War 5.
You're good. No one's gonna get angry, you know, Shin. Topics. Cool. All right, tweet sent. Let's get started, boys. Got the chat up. What day is it? The 28th? Sure. I have the next 4 days off, strategically planned.
How did you do that?
I requested them off a long time ago, and it just kind of worked out. But most importantly, Destiny 2 comes out on Tuesday, which I didn't know when I requested the time off because they pushed it back a couple weeks. And gosh dang, it did work out.
See, right. I have tomorrow and Monday off, and then Tuesday when Destiny comes out is the beginning of my 5 days.
I'm sorry, Tony.
And that's fine with me.
I'm
not playing it to hardcore play the game. I'm playing it to play the game by myself. Cool. For the most part, I'm not playing with anybody. I just decided I was going to play it for me.
This is the pre-show Jay Equus Films. Or is it Jequis Films? That's fair. All right, let's get started. Let's get some podcasting in. It is Saturday, September 28th, 2008. Almost. We're going to do a redo on that one. I can't believe I forgot what year it was. I always think about that, too, before I say it. It is Saturday, September 28th, 2019, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I'm Alex O'Neill. Consider me the duck at the front of the line, and you are the ducklings behind me, following me on this podcast journey that we are about to embark on. My other ducks joining me this week are Mr. Tony Horvath and Mr. Brian Nobishin Jackson.
He was a boy, she was a girl. Can't I make it any more obvious? He was a punk, she did ballet. What more can I say? He wanted her, she never tell. Secretly, she wanted him as well. But all of her friends stuck up their nose. They had problems with his baggy clothes. We're going down, down in an earlier round. And sugar, we're going down. Swing, swing, swing from the tangles of my heart is crushed by a former love. In this club, infinite content, we're infinitely content. Because we lost it all. Nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry I can't be perfect. Infinite content, we're infinitely content. Now it's just too late. We can't go back. I'm sorry. I can't be perfect. 5 years from now, she sits at home, beating the baby. She's all alone. She turns on TV. Guess who she see? Skater boy rocking up MTV. She called up her friends. They already know. They got the tickets to see his show. She tags along, stands in the crowd. Look at the man that she turned down in an earlier round. And sugar, we're going down. Swing, swing, swing from the tangles of my heart is crushed by a former love in this club. Okay.
You just went for it so hard. I love it. Wow.
Is like the last time I took an absent and came back, I just said okay, and that wasn't okay with me. I was like, oh man, that was
gotta step it up.
So I try to bring the heat this time.
You brought the heat. Holy shit! I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready for that kind of energy right out the gate, and I love it. Welcome to Irrational Passions podcast. We are one Scott Cuthier down, who's normally here, but he's not. But he might join us into the show. Either way. You got Tony, you got Alex, you got Nabashin. You got a good show. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Was there?
True.
Yeah, it is true. Hard facts right there. Let's get started. I like to just start this podcast. Like, let's just get into it. Irrational Passions podcast, product of irrationalpassions.com. We talk about video games here. Let's talk about fucking video games. We've all been playing some video games.
Those.
You like video games, Tony?
Sometimes.
I would say that all of us play a different variety of video games, and that's why there are multiple hosts on this podcast, and that's why I'd like to think we bring something different to the table, each of us. Tony, what have you brought to the table today?
Just want to get right into it.
Yeah, we're doing it. There's no housekeeping this week. I decided against it because Nabashin said a thing on a podcast, and it bothered me.
What did he say on the podcast?
Remember we did... Nabashin did a great IP Presents, like another feed that we do, just conversation about our gaming histories. And I don't know if you meant it as a part of a dig at Irrational Passions, but you're like, I'm just so tired of these podcasts that just, you're talking about fresh off the dome. Just like, they got to promote all this stuff at the beginning. And I was just sitting there like,
Oh, no.
I know. I'm just saying, let's hit the ground running for this podcast. Let's talk about video games. Tony, you play video games on a regular basis.
Yeah.
What have you been playing? What have you been playing the last 2 weeks? We took last week off. What have you been playing?
So I've been playing some League of Legends.
Okay.
And
Nothing new there, right?
No, nothing new. Nothing new. Well, actually, no, nothing.
Okay. There could be something new if there's something new, you know.
That's true, but there's nothing new.
Okay. What else then?
Playing that. I kind of talked about it before. I don't think we were actually on the air yet. At least not even for both. I played the Borderlands 3 tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't think I'm gonna play anymore.
What is the Borderlands 3 tutorial?
You play like the first mission. Like you should. It's if you like Borderlands 2, I'm sure it's great. But I didn't like Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 1, and I really hate Claptrap.
Yeah.
Like, as a character, as an idea, as a thing that exists anywhere in the space of all existence, I fucking hate Claptrap.
Mm-hmm.
And the first fucking thing you see in Borderlands, you make a character, and the reason why I bought the game in the first place, people wanted me to play it, and I realized that one of my favorite voice actors ever, who's kind of like he's not super popular, like he doesn't do a whole bunch of voice work. Pro ZD Sungwon Cho.
Sungwon Cho is the homie.
He voices one of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
like one of the playable characters, and I was like, I will try this game just to play his character.
Yeah.
You know,
Support him.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I want to see, what the fuck's up. And I'm down to play a game where I'm listening to him talk at me.
Mhm.
So, you know,
I didn't know he played one of the characters. What's the name of his character? Is he Flack?
he's Flack.
Okay, everybody loves Flack.
Everybody loves Flack.
So
Yeah, of course, because he's fucking awesome.
yeah.
And so anyway, I was like, okay, fine, I'll give it a shot. And right after character creation, first fucking thing that happens, you wake up and Claptrap comes rolling down, and he's like, "Hello, I'm fucking done." And I'm like, all right, this game sucks.
All right, hard out. Actually, it's funny. That's how Borderlands 2 starts as well.
Yeah.
I think that's how Borderlands 1 starts. Yeah, that is how Borderlands 1 starts as well.
Like, and the thing is, like, we know from Tales of the Borderlands that they can make a game that isn't fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But I guess they just went hard into the.
I think, to be fair, like,
thing in every situation and the dumbest possible jokes.
To be fair, I think like Telltale's team predominantly wrote that game. I know like the Borderlands team was definitely involved, but that was definitely a different vibe.
It goes without saying that the game did not mix well with me. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I pretty quickly got out of that shit. I played 46 minutes total.
Yeah. I'm
and
sorry
maybe
for your
it gets
loss.
better, but I'm not interested to find out. Like, I played through the first thing, looting for anything. I was like, these guns, I don't care about them.
Sure.
And they're tutorial guns. Like, you're not really supposed to, but they all felt terrible. I had no interest in looking at the stats of the guns. I was like, fuck it. Yeah. So anyway.
I'll say this, right? We talk a lot about good video game openings, and I just mean video game people as a whole. And there are a lot of great video game openings. People don't talk about bad video game openings enough, I think. And Borderlands 2 has a fucking atrocious opening. The first 2 hours of that game, I think, are miserable.
I don't know if I remember much of it.
You start in like an icy area, and you have to like. The first thing you do is go to a door. Claptrap's just yelling at you this whole time, just do stuff, and then he gets pounced on by this big beast, and he takes his eye, and then he runs off, and the whole tutorial is you following this big beast, fighting other beasts, while Claptrap, who can't see from his body, but his eye is still connected to him. He's like describing all the things that he's seen from his eye's perspective, and it's just awful. I think it's just, and it's so long, and it's one of those things like this is a game where you're supposed to kind of like maybe make multiple characters and play through it multiple times.
Yeah.
And there's no option to skip that whole tutorial, and it just sucks. Totally a diversion. Not necessarily trying to be down on the folks that love Borderlands. I get it. You love Borderlands. I'm not taking that away from you. That's one that sticks out to me. If Borderlands 3 is anything like that, I feel for you, Tony.
It's just such a downer,
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I was like, cool. My fucking bros on the game. Yeah. Let's just see what happens, and yeah, it's all right. Yeah. So anyway, I played some of that. What else did I do? I played. I'm trying to save the best for last. So I'm trying to get everything else out of the way.
No, I got you. Did you play any Dark Souls this week?
No. Why would I? Play Dark Souls?
I played Dark Souls this week, so I just curious. We got League of Legends. I assume you're still platinum there.
Yeah. I haven't actually touched that shit. So.
The ranked, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm just playing. Oh, I mean, I can talk about it, but so I've been working with. I switched main characters, because ASOL's bad.
Yep.
I hard main swapped, and I'm looking for a new one. And right now, I was like, my favorite professional League player who is widely known as the first and best mid laner, probably best player to ever have played the game as of like a year ago.
Okay.
There are some like people like esports commentators and stuff are now saying like there's some like rising stars who may be a better player than, but he was like the first best in the world.
Sure.
And he plays the same role as me. So, and I've always like thought his plays and his characters are really fucking rad. So I was like, fuck it, let's play Faker's main, which is Rise, who's this like spell shotgunning character who his like his other spells like reset his main spell's cooldown. So the idea is to like weave your main spell in between all of your other like CC and crowd control spells and shit.
Cool.
But he doesn't have a shit ton of health because of it, and he scales super hard into the late game. So you need to have good coordination and good teamwork to get to that point in the game where he becomes basically an unstoppable damage machine.
Cool. It seems like that was kind of Asol's jam as well. It was like he was
so
great.
The big thing that he has as well is he has an ultimate that lets him teleport.
Oh damn!
In all the characters that I play, Asol has the ability to fly around the map. I play Twisted Fate, who has the another ultimate that lets him teleport around the map in a much wider area. Then Rise's ultimate, he puts down a circle that anyone in your team can stand in, and it teleports them to a point a shorter distance away than what TF could teleport. But you can bring your team into fights and shit. And it's used as a mobility tool and shit like that. So my play style is like characters, spell damage characters who play in mid lane, who roam around the map a lot and try and make plays and make the difference for their entire team rather than just trying to win a lane by themselves. So I basically am playing all three of the characters that do that.
Huh.
So
I love that.
So I put it. So since I started doing that, I've put in 70 games on the character.
Jesus.
Pretty much like only him. Like I haven't played anyone else pretty much for 70 games.
Nice.
So
that's very Tony of you, and I that's like I feel like the way you learn, right?
I mean, that's a way you can learn. But I don't know. Like the problem with Rise is he's one of the lowest win rate champions in the whole game. Like globally, his win rate's like 46%, which is really low for a game with as many games played, where there are two teams and five out of the 10 champions must win. You know. The typical, like, they want everyone to be as close to 50%. A champion is really fucking overpowered broken if they get like to 52, 53% win. So 46 is really low. So his win rate's really low because he sucks if you don't have good team coordination and if you're not just like a really fucking good player. But in professional play where everyone's good and the teamwork is there, he's really good. So they have to balance him for professional play and solo queue at the same time. So they take away like his playmaking shit and make him more reliant on his teammates, which is really bad when you don't know who the fuck is on your team. Yeah. So
cool.
It's interesting to play a champion that has his own kind of unique challenges. Like,
I don't know, was he in the game in the era that I played?
He's one of the original champions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. His name sounds familiar. I'm really bad with names to faces, but that sounds cool. That like I don't know, I'm into that. See, there was interesting League of Legends kernels in you somewhere inside you, Tony.
That's true.
What else? What's the good stuff? Come on.
Let's talk about some fucking mobile games. My dudes.
Hell yes, of course.
So I realized like sometime during this week, I just gonna realize I hadn't logged into my Ship Girls game in like 2 weeks. Right? And I was like, the fuck am I doing, dude?
What am I doing with my life?
Where'd the passion go? So I was like, I guess the game's just not really doing it for me anymore.
Time to find a new one.
Time to figure out a good mobile game to play. Okay, look, my work, I have downtime between like every 2 hours of work. There's like downtime, short amount of period, downtime, long amount of period of work, right? And that comprises like a 10-hour day.
Yeah.
So I need something that's bite-sized that I can do with between those timers of like when I actually have shit to do at work, or the time when I've got free, I can do something on my phone. So I'm like, okay, what can I put in this gap, right? And I went on the App Store, the Play Store or whatever, and I was like, what's in here? What are people jamming with, you know? It's I fucked around and installed Clash of Clans.
Oh no! All right. You promised and you have already delivered. We haven't even talked about it yet. You've already delivered.
So I was like, what's going on with this shit? Like, do I still have my old account, or is it because the last time I played it was on iPhone several years ago,
Yeah.
like 2.5 years ago on an iPhone, not connected to an account,
Yeah.
and I definitely deleted that shit. And so I was like, okay. So I went and I logged in, and apparently I had at one point used an emulator to make a second town.
Yeah, you had an emulator on your computer on Android. It was like an Android emulator. I remember this.
Right. I forgot about
I
that.
do remember this. So you had yourself protected this whole time, of course.
Of course.
So where was your emulator situation at?
So the thing is, the emulator is is Android.
Yeah,
So
which
I'm
you
on
have
Android
now,
So when I opened up the game, it launched that town because that was what was saved to that to Android, my Google Play account.
Excellent.
So I was like, okay, but it's Town Hall 4, which is really low. It's like
Some
you play
pleb
for
shit.
a week, you've
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see if I can find my old account maybe because I went in and I was like, can I play this? Like, what if I just start from here?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, nope, this is a bad idea. So I'm gonna find my old account. So I went around and I was looking for it, and I realized I still have my iPhone 6, just sitting on a shelf in my room. Hasn't been turned on in a year. Because it had a crack in the screen, so I didn't sell it, which was annoying because I got a crack in the screen because it felt the counter in the bathroom a week before I got a new phone. And so it has this tiny hairline crack, which makes it I can't sell it to somebody. So anyway, I still have it, right? So I was like, fuck it, let's see what I can if it's still on here. So I installed it on there, and lo and behold, there it is.
There's your account.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. I attached it. Now they have these Supercell ID that you can put it on, and then you can just have multiple accounts on your one phone now. Just log out and then log in with a different Supercell ID.
Okay.
So I'm back in. And
no, I got that part.
Yeah. So I got my town back. I joined some random ass clan. And my first mistake when I quit, I was what they technically call a Town Hall 8.5, which is you get to the end of Town Hall 8, max Town Hall 8 out completely, then upgrade your Town Hall to Town Hall 9, and build all of the new defenses except the X-bows, which are this giant crossbow auto turret. You get 2 of them at Town Hall 9, but they increase the weight of your war resources by a lot. And what that means, when you go to war, it takes the total weight value of all of the things you have built, and then tries to match you up with a clan that has a similar combined total weight of all the people you take to war. So it is to your benefit to not build those really expensive defenses while you're still upgrading everything else, because it will give you easier matchups while you're still developing your defenses. Unless you're fucking retarded and then you just built them.
R word.
Immediately.
Bad word. Sorry, Harold. Go on.
Build them instantly.
Yes.
Which massively increases your defense weight and gets you matched up against stronger opponents before you. So, of course, the first thing I did coming back to the game after 2.5 years, forgetting everything about it, is I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to drop these defenses. So I kind of I wasn't ready for them, but once you put something down, you can't cancel it. You can cancel upgrades, but you can't cancel new things. So,
really?
Yeah, once you put a building down, you've spent the resources to start building a new building, you can't cancel that building from being made.
That's weird.
You can cancel an upgrade though, if you're upgrading from level 1. But the problem is once you drop them, which I was almost ready. I could have probably gone 2 weeks of playing the game, and upgrading stuff, and then I would have been ready. But yeah, I was like, oh well, okay, fine, I'll just put it down. And at Town Hall 9, you also get a second hero, the Archer Queen, which is really important unit and it's really strong. But it takes a long time and a lot of you have to level her up one level at a time. Each level takes 12 hours, 18 hours one day in 4 hours, day in 8 hours to level up over and over. So the clan that I had joined You know, it was I just kind of joined I went on like the Reddit for Clash of Clans guild recruiting because
Because
I
why
just
not?
joined some clan because I didn't want to join some random like open one. I was like, I'll find a decent one and just join. So I joined them and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna drop these Expos. Why not? I didn't get to build them before. That sounds like fun. Let's just build them. I had the resources. So then I looked at their clan requirements after I joined their Discord, and it's like, clan requirements for dropping Expos. Both of your royals have to be at level 15. And I was like, shit, I have a level 10 barbarian king and a level 5 archer queen. So so I had to and once you drop them, it doesn't make sense to leave them at level 1. You have to level them up to the maximum level because if you're gonna have to wait, you might as well use.
Yeah, you might as well get the most out of it.
Right. So I'm now like permanently. I'm not in wars right now because I've got to like have my queen permanently upgrading until it hits level 15, and like the expos have been upgrading since I dropped them, so that I've had all this like extra war weight and not even using it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty funny.
Nice.
But I don't know. I hope that was gibberish enough to satiate your Clash of Clans.
Oh yeah.
The void in your life that Clash of Clans.
I love
the podcast.
the thing is like Tony's like a best of collection, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like we're in the 2019 era, so we're getting like Clash of Clans round 2, like era 2, like volume 2. Like, we're about to get Destiny volume 3. We got League of Legends volume 2.
Yeah, like the thing about it is like it is bite size enough that I can play it. I can do an attack when I'm done with a section of work, and then go to the next section, do an attack again, and then go do the work. And then once I'm done with that, I can attack again, and then go to the next section and attack again. So it's just kind of like the rhythm of being able to farm for resources in that game. Which before, when I was not when I didn't have a situation like that, it kind of ended up being a deterrent for playing the game because it's like a constant pressure to like, you better come on an attack because once you get up to these town hall levels, it's very expensive to do anything. And you don't get you get like a good raid is like 1 million combined resources, and each upgrade is like 6 or 7 million resources. And then you've also got 225 walls that each require 1.2 million resources to upgrade at this town hall level. So it's just really expensive to get through all of this shit. And then you've got Dark Elixir, which is like the really expensive or the really rare, I guess, resource where like I might get 500,000 gold and 500,000 elixir from a raid, but at the same time I'm only getting 2,000 dark. And each queen upgrade costs like 25 to 30,000 dark elixir. So you've got to complete successfully X amount of raids, which is however much you're getting dark elixir minus the cost to build the army that you did the raid with in 1.5 days before your queen is done upgrading, so you can put her back to sleep to upgrade again. So that kind of pressure to keep playing and keep raiding and keep going over and over and over again eventually drove me away from Path of Exile 2 years, or not Path of Exile, Clash of Clans 2 years ago. So it's interesting now that I have time to actually do that. To see the game as a way of like, just kind of like chilling for a second, taking a breather, and then making some progress. And the timers don't seem as long now as they used to.
Yeah,
they are the same amount as long. Like,
but they don't seem as
still
long.
Takes 3 days.
Yeah, playing it like a legit mobile game. I get it.
Yeah, instead of trying to no life it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and trying to like main game that shit.
Mm-hmm. It's hard with the timer type games, right? They're designed against that. Yeah, because
then you got that drive. I better speed up this timer. And I think I approached games a little bit differently at the time that I played Clash of Clans last time as then I approach games now.
Yeah.
And now like I can look at the thing, and this is something that I looked at before, but I just didn't really care about it. I was more about the instant gratification of seeing an upgrade finish. But now, like, if I look at it, like, I can go on like Clash Track, which is an online website where you plug in all your base stats and it'll show you timers and like what you need to farm, how much gold you have left until you max out this town hall level and all that shit. And it says, like, it's going to take me with 5 builders, which is the maximum you can have. Well, sort of. that it's gonna take like 93 days to completely max out all the Town Hall 9 buildings, but it's gonna take 112 days. Well, this is outdated. This is probably now like 108. It's going to take 100 and some odd days, longer than my builders can possibly get it done in to get all my research maxed, and you can't speed that shit up. So it's like, why would I ever speed up any building? What's the point? Because if I speed up building, I'm not decreasing the amount of time that I will spend at this town hall level before I can upgrade again. Because I have to get all the other research done first, which is going to take longer. So, if I constantly upgrade with research and to keep that going 24/7, my Town Hall 9 will be maxed by the end of January next year.
That's so long. It's crazy that you can like know that now, though.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that stuff exists that you can just look at it. And be like,
the stat tracking thing is interesting.
Yeah. So it's like I can now kind of look at it more analytically and instead of just impulsively, and be like, okay, like I will slow roll this, and if I'm still interested in it by the time we get to that point, then we get to that point.
Interesting. Well, I'm excited to see how this story develops.
Yeah, right. In 2 weeks from now, I'll be like, fuck that game.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm waiting for. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much it.
I had
a really fucking long couple of weeks of work. So
yeah, me too. I feel you. I was really hoping that when you said that, like when you got excited about the games that you'd played, that you were just going to talk about the KFC dating simulator for 45 minutes.
No, I did look at some of that, and I also did watch some Game Grumps the past week that I haven't watched Game Grumps in a while. Have you watched Game Grumps recently?
Not their KFC play, but
no, I haven't. I wasn't that I watched.
I watched this stuff.
The only thing I watched was Twilight Princess.
I watched the panties one.
I heard about the panties one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I watched their Undertale stream. Was the most recent thing of theirs I watched. So.
Did you watch their 10-minute power hour where they play Magic?
Nope.
Ooh,
that's a really good one.
I actually have on one of my monitors right now. I have to watch after the show, the Between the Sheets, which is Critical Role thing, where they play Magic Arena. Matt Mercer and Sammy.
That's cool.
So I'm interested to see that shit.
How does Danny do with Magic the Gathering, Nabishin?
Oh, he's OG. So
oh hell, that's what I thought. Danny seemed like he might be a secret OG. He never talks about it. So, excellent. I don't watch Power Hour. Is the thing. I've watched one Power Hour ever. I loved it. I just don't watch it.
Yeah, I'm on it every week.
Yeah, you and Justin as well. Justin Graffius. So.
I probably should mention too. They played it in a pool, by the way.
Excellent. I didn't know. Did they tap the water?
What?
Did they tap the water? It's like a magic thing. Anyway, I think I did it right, Tony. Let's talk about more video games. Is that all you got, Tony?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Nabishin, in the great post Kingdom Hearts 3 Nabishin struggle of 2019, how are you doing with video games? Do you want to talk about this a little bit?
I mean, like, there's nothing really much more to say. It's like,
if I'm good at one thing, it's summaries, Nabishin. You know that. It's not true.
Yeah, I mean, like, just like after pretty much beating that game, like other than like Devil May Cry 5, like I just had like zero appetite for video games. Just in general. It's just like something that was like so important to me and something that like lived up for me. Then like it was kind of a thing where it's like I had the thing that I wanted for forever, and now that is gone because I had it. It's just like there's nothing left for me. Like and like it was like thank God for like Final Fantasy VII like revealing the way it did, because that instant was like, oh yeah, that's my next thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, after that, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but like,
I mean, you're gonna wait for part 2 of Final Fantasy VII is what you're gonna do.
I guess that's true.
and you got like Persona 5 Golden and stuff like that on the radar as well. So Royal, wow, Jesus, dude, you can tell I've had a long day. There are other things. I think there are other things, but I understand like after a catharsis like that, I mean, we talked about it in a podcast. I mentioned it earlier. We did like a little one off, two off gaming history show. First part is up now, talking about me growing up, all the games I played growing up, and on Monday the other part with you is going to go up. And we talked a little bit about of like where you're at with video games now. But yeah, it's like a big release, right? But it's also like a little bit of a void. You know, there's nothing necessarily that can fill that. I think your phrasing was, I beat Kingdom Hearts 3 and my life has no meaning now. Which is a big mood. I get it.
But I've been here before. Like, I remember when like I literally caught up with like every manga and anime that like I had. So it was literally I just had to wait. I had to wait for everything now. It was like there was nothing else for me. And then like when stuff like ended, I had like that was extremely invested in like when Oran finally ended, or when Full Metal Alchemist finally ended, or when Naruto finally ended. It's like God, like what do I have for a week now? Like there's nothing here anymore.
Yeah.
Like when Niyasha ended, that was a mess, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's a big deal for you. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. We're talking about Nobishin's video games, and we talked about Tony's video games. Now you're caught up.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Sorry, Scott, that we started early. We tried to text you.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I definitely was paying attention to my phone.
That's exactly what I said. All right, no worries. we'll get you in here. We got you in here, so
Sounds about par for the course for Scott.
that's a Scott Guthier mood. I get it.
Generally, I'm pretty good about it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's Saturday. It's the weekend. I fucking don't check my phone on my days off at all. So I don't even know if you work today, Scott. Do you work?
No.
Excellent.
I was gone all week, but I was not working today.
Cool. It worked out then. Anyway, back on track. So yes, you're in this catharsis kind of catharsis meets frustration. What have you been playing in the meantime? I see you tweet about it. You are playing games. I know it's not necessarily things you want to talk about, but
yeah, I mean, like to be fair, like it's been months, and like this is just the longest it's ever lasted for me. This type of thing.
It's been 8 full months as of yesterday, or as of tomorrow.
Fuck, I didn't realize it was that long. But
yeah,
like,
it was January, my guy.
Yeah, like yeah, it's just been weird for me. Like I bought games constantly, and like it's just like I haven't really been playing them. Like I play them for like a good like hour and a half or something like that. Then I just stop and just don't even think about them anymore. And then like I just watch YouTube videos or just fucking fuck around, do other things, and just like I'm pretty much getting over it now. I think. Like River City Girls did a really good number for me. That's because like that game's amazing in my eyes. I enjoy that game immensely. It's very buggy. It crashes a lot. Unfortunately, hopefully they'll patch it pretty soon. But like, I beat the game like multiple times already.
Wow. Okay. Our boys, Danny and Aaron are in that game.
Yes.
I almost said Annie and Darren. I can't. Somebody get me off of this podcast. I gotta drink more of this water. But that's all I know about River City Girls. Is it like take place in the same universe as Streets of Rage?
What?
Is that a thing?
Streets of Rage is a totally different thing.
No, I'm not thinking of Streets of Rage. I'm thinking of Double Dragon. I think they aren't don't Danny and Aaron play characters that are the main characters of another beat 'em up game?
Yes, they played the brothers from Double Dragon.
Okay, it was Double Dragon. All right, they're both beat 'em ups. Streets of Rage is a fighting game, isn't it? Regardless.
No, Streets of Rage is a beat 'em up.
Okay, so I wasn't like terribly far off.
No, but like when you were, never mind. Sorry, let's just move on.
Listen, just know when you're talking to me, I'm like half there, half not as far as old games are concerned. I make some strong assumptions, let's say. That's all I know about River City Girls, though. That and it's got a great art style.
I
Yeah, like-
consider them flabby assumptions.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. I'll shapen them up for you. It's my signature.
But that game is like this. It's so OD for me, like as far as like connecting with me and like stuff that I love about like not only just video games, but like when like like when someone else takes over a property and like they do fan service, but like fan service in like a really really good way. That just like really like just spoke to me and just makes you just love it. Like the River City Girls are like just came out of nowhere. They're characters that like that was in an old version of River City of Ransom that was like only released in Japan, and like both Masako and Kyoko were there, but like they were only in that one game. There weren't any other games, but like they made a game about them and having like what's it Kunio and Ricky the main characters from River City Ransom be their boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And like they get kidnapped and like they're just going out to rescue them by just like beating shit everybody in their way. Not really like they're trying to investigate, but like they're investigating by beating them away. And like it's just so funny, and like the combat it feels so good. Like it feels like the evolution to like what Scott Pilgrim versus the World had
Oh wow,
a long time ago.
That's a high compliment.
Yeah. Like I feel like this game is a lot better than that because of that. How much better it feels, and like how like you just link your combos like constantly.
Did WayForward do Scott Pilgrim as well?
No, that was Tribute Games, I believe.
Okay.
It was Tribute Games and Ubisoft.
Okay.
Who did that?
Damn, I didn't know this was an Ubisoft joint. That's cool. That's such a cool idea. Like you talk about a lot of video games being like sequels to franchises or like remakes or reboots or whatever. This is a cool kind of. I feel like it's in the same camp, right? Like it is harkening back to this old franchise, but it's like doing something new with it, with new or characters that weren't developed before. Like I think that's clever and cool.
Mm-hmm. It's so cool, and like it's like I said, it's just a level of fan service that like I just personally enjoy. And not that I was like the biggest River City Ransom person, but like I played the game and I really liked that game. And that was like pretty much the first beat 'em up, more or less. Yeah, it's just like this takes everything from that and like takes stuff from Constant Pilgrim, take everything from like beat 'em ups from the last like 20 or 30 years and just like improves on them like in so many ways. Like I said, that game is just like it's so good. Like it's seriously like one of my new favorite games ever after beating it.
Awesome. That's great. What else have you been playing outside of River City Girls?
Not too much. Dragon Quest just came out yesterday. I didn't play too much of it. I just played like pretty much the 2D section of it. Just to check it out, and like that's just really cool and like almost worked it by itself, just to see just the way they do that game differently, just all in the 2D aspects of it. I just enjoy it. I'm really ready to sink my teeth back into it because like I played the demo of it, obviously. And obviously I played the main game on PS4, but like I played the demo of it, which I was like maybe 5 hours into it already. And like I'm at the point right before you see Salvando, so like I know that's when the game really picks up. So like yeah.
I'm thinking about playing it again. I'm on the fence again. They're part of me wants like a nice traditional JRPG right now. Obviously, I don't have time, but I'm gonna. I was watching a couple reviews of the Switch version, and I played a little bit of the demo, and I don't know. I'm on the fence again. We'll see.
I mean, the demo is like 10 hours long, dude. Like,
it's true. I'll keep playing the demo, and that's essentially going to be the determining factor.
Yeah, just like keep playing it, and if you find your point, if you find yourself at the point where the demo ends, I feel like that's like, oh, okay, then like, yeah, maybe I should invest into it, type thing.
That's a good call.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just it is very charming. You know, the music's good. Also, do you hear any new music since you got out of the demo into the main game?
No, like, because like everything I, as far as new, like I've already heard because I played the PS4 version.
Yeah.
I mean, all the music's enhanced.
Yes, enhanced music.
Yes, so, you know, but yeah, I can't wait to sink my teeth into that. But like, other than that, really, there's nothing else really. Like I said, I for a while and just bounce right off of the music. Like played it for like a good 45 minutes. Enjoyed it. I think it's cute, and like then I dropped it.
What did you cut out for a second? What game was it?
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game. Okay.
Yeah,
Honk.
it is what it is, pretty much. Sayonara Hearts, I played a little bit of it. That didn't really click with me, unfortunately.
That's such a bummer. I really wanted that to click with you.
Like it's cool, but like I don't know, man. This is
It did not click with me at all. So like preaching to the choir here, but I know like George Cruz and Scott White both really liked it. George like it really touched his heart with that one. So apparently there's like a part of it that is very much harkening back to like a Dreamcast era of video games.
Yeah, I mean similar to Red, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Essentially, it seems like there's a sequence in it that goes for it in a cool way. I don't necessarily know what that means, but that is how it was explained to me.
I mean, like Rami Ishmael tweeted like this like a few days ago, like because I didn't beat the game, but like I played like maybe like half of the game, and like it seems like that it has like like maybe 3 like really amazing levels, and then like the rest of them are just like kind of just okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that's like a third of like the entire game. So it's like I'm not trying to like say like the value isn't there. It's more of like it's
if those just okay parts aren't clicking with you, then it's probably not worth it. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I like it's for me. It was just the kind of rhythm aspect of it really threw me off, as I'm sure all of you know. So I just I kept getting frustrated with it when I played the demo and messing up and having like simple mistakes. I would say, especially like I played the first level and I messed up a lot, and it's like I can't with this. You know, I know I'm gonna just have a frustrating time with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. Different reasons, but I do get it. Is there anything else? You were playing Dragon Ball Fighters again. You were playing some of the new characters.
Oh yeah, like every time there's a new do the combo challenge, just like freshen up and like play that as like I constantly always do. But like for the last couple of characters, like I couldn't do like the last like couple. Like the last 2 like combo chances, like it was like really like tough on me. But like it's always like a thing with me when I play fighters. It's like there's a moment when I'm really feeling like how to play the game, and then there's moments I just can't. I'm like that with Street Fighter too. I'm like that with fighting games in general. Actually, not thinking about it, it was like when I feel like I can do the combos like effectively. I can actually get stuff out. I'm in the mood. I can feel it like I'm in the right mind space for it. I guess I should say. And like yeah, like what was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was definitely in that mood. Like Gogeta just came out, so I was like, yeah, let me just finally beat these challenges and like get to 100% again, and like I did it again. So like yeah, I was proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too, Notion. Always. I saw you posting those completions on Twitter. They're very good.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. Those are the games. Wipe your hands of them.
I mean, like, bought Astro Chain, bought Control, bought well, I have Gears of War.
You just have it by association, yes.
Yeah, so like those are games I have, and like I haven't played them.
So in the week that we took off, because it was like the week after Gears 5 came out, you had tweeted out that you were like a little down on Gears 5, and then you played it and you kind of appreciated the quality of it.
I'm like that with Gears in general.
Yeah.
I'm always like that.
But like, what do you mean? Was there something about playing it that really stuck out to you? I will say, like, I mean, I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago, but it looks incredible. Like, it is like almost Naughty Dog levels of looking very, very good, which is awesome.
Yeah, like Gears is always something like I forget just how good it is. That's just plain and simple how it is. It's just like the story doesn't really do it for me. But I like the gameplay and like when I'm actually in the motions of playing that game, like in the series, like any of them, like I just get into it and I really enjoy myself. Like, obviously, like I think probably Gears 3 is still the best for me personally. Like that one I just enjoyed the most. Uh, Pretty much like all the way around. It's like as far as like the story and even like this game played it with co-op, but like the 4-player co-op at the time, which they haven't done again, which that just surprises me. Like gone for that again, but like I guess it's just like like when you're trying to look better, is like more limitations as well. Like Halo has that problem as well. It used to be 4-player split screen, and now it's like with 5 it like went back to like 2. I don't even know that game has split screen.
I don't think Gears of War 4 or 5 have split screen. I could be wrong. Gears 4 might have it, but I don't think 5 does. That's a good point. Yeah, I think Borderlands 3 has split screen. I hear it's rough.
I think it has horizontal split screen, or maybe no. I think it was vertical.
Vertical.
No. I think it was only horizontal because I think it had the option before. Now it's just vertical.
Horizontal is my preferred cut of split screen.
Yeah.
Because like that vertical shit, get that out of here. Yeah, I was just curious. Did I talk to you? I finished Gears of War 4 finally.
No, you didn't tell me.
I saw it. I liked the robot part. Obviously, I felt like the narrative aspect of Gears 4's ending was very abrupt. It just kind of ends. Like you're going through all this stuff. Baird and Cole show up, and like I don't know. I guess like when Baird and Cole show up, I was expecting like more people with them, but it's just they show up, they give you the robots, you go into like this train station, you fight a big monster, and then it's over. Like the game almost immediately ends after that. You get that last cutscene between Kate and her mom, and it's like, oh, she gave me this. I don't know what it's about. Turns around, locust symbols, like cut to black. It's like, all right, well, that's a weird way to end a game, but okay. But I'm bummed that I didn't get to the fun robot part because it was really fun. But yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to like hopefully get to the story of Gears 5 because I'm hearing really good things about it. I like Kate from Gears 4, so like yeah, I just hope it's like more fleshed out, which is apparently what it is. It's like a more of a character driven type of way.
Yeah.
So like
seems like
hear more about those characters who is the Market Phoenix, then like I'll be really into it. Like the hour or two that I played of it, like I really enjoyed. Like
yeah,
obviously because Marcus is in there, and I really adore Marcus in those games. So
yeah, and he like I like how kind of tender they made him in Gears 4-5. Like he's a little bit softer in those games, I think. Which is like what having a kid does to you, and it makes a lot of sense. And I like it. Yeah, and I don't know. I've only played the beginning of Gears 5, like through the kind of time jump to where you're getting into the open area. But they definitely do JD a little dirty, I think.
yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, I'm excited to spend more time with Kate, spend more time with Dell. I don't know when I'm going to get back to that game, but we'll see.
Same. Also wanted to give a shout out to Man and Medan.
I played through Man and Medan with my roommate. It was awesome. Nothing more I need to say. I've played through that game 4 full times now, and it's been great every time. Yeah.
Cool.
I really like that game.
What I was about to say, did a party mode with Katie and a bunch of her friends. We stopped pretty much right after like
where we got
a little bit more.
Okay.
Because like it was like right after like everyone convenes, like like it's pretty much the part.
Oh, like
the next act where it's like, hey, is everyone still alive, or did somebody die at this part type of thing?
got it.
So like
It's the end of the second act, I think.
Yeah. But like yeah, like I enjoyed the game a lot. I still haven't seen how it ended though. A little bit by myself, but then I got a little bit farther past that, and then like I accidentally had Julia die. Got shot in the head, so yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, it happens.
So I have to like redo that. Had to scourge that and like do another replay through. Try to get everyone to survive, see how that happens. But yeah,
I'll say this, Man of Medan, and George goes into it in his review, but it is definitely a game that benefits from the online multiplayer. The single player version of that, like playing that game by yourself, is not as good as playing it with another person. Specifically in the online multiplayer, even the theater mode is not as fun as the online multiplayer, but I still had a great time when I played with Damien, my roommate. We did the theater mode, so kind of like what you were doing, Option, and I still had a good time with it. Yeah, I still thought it was cool.
And yeah, like the other like that's still, you're right. It was hard that experience because like we're both doing stuff at the same time, and I didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know I was doing.
Yeah, we had to talk to each other to see like what the fuck's going on over there.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool, Scotty. Scott Guthier, what you got? Video games. What have you been playing, sir?
Not too much different.
Okay. It's been a couple weeks.
It has been a couple of weeks, so I guess in the past couple of weeks, it's kind of been treading over similar ground.
Okay.
Didn't get my Joy-Con fixed, but I've still been playing some Baba Is You.
Okay.
Getting further through that.
Damn. I feel like that game's probably not that long.
No, it's for a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty beefy.
Okay. I like that. I like a beefy puzzle game.
So yeah, to me it looks like there's a total of 8 stages. Each stage has around 11 levels.
Okay. Yeah, 88 levels that's a significant chunk.
And then there's like the final level.
Okay. Got it.
Then E8, then it's a puzzle game, so it's just,
of course there's more after that.
You can burn through it once you know how to complete each puzzle. But some of those can be 15-minute long head scratches.
Okay. Cool. I'm still tempted to play that game. Hopefully I'll be able to get to it before the end of the year. Anything else?
Let's see.
Are you platinum
some
in League?
Starve.
Okay.
It's fired up a little bit of Binding of Isaac again.
Okay.
This is after we talked about it the last time.
Okay.
Other than that, not too much has been.
Okay. Are you done with WoW?
No.
Still playing WoW Classic. I'm writing it down. I'm just keeping a record for my records when I go back through the podcast talks. Just to know. Interesting. Okay. Nothing new to add. What's the next thing on your horizon, Scott? Are you in on Death Stranding?
So
I'm kidding.
I'm in on Death Stranding.
Really? That was my joke guess.
I said so as much last time.
All right. Listen. Y'all know I'm in on Death Stranding. Fuck the haters out there. I'm gonna give it an honest to God shot. I might hate it. I probably won't like it, but I'm gonna try it. We'll see. Anything else, Scott? Anything you just want to throw out there? Add, feel out? A soapbox you want to get on? Something you just want to rant about?
No, not really.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, I wasn't home this weekend, as I said.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
So I didn't get down to too much.
Yeah, I had a very long week, so I feel you. I played some video games though. In the week we had off, I want to come out the gate say, got Ori and the Blind Forest on Switch. We were sent a code for that. It's out now. Really happy to say that the Switch version of Ori is perfect. And And I say that, nothing's perfect, but I've had 0 issues with it. I'm about a little over halfway through the game, I would say. And I'm on a beeline to finish it. And keep in mind, I've played and finished this game once already this year for book club, so I'm playing it again this year. Just love it. It's just comfort food for me. It's very good. It runs at 60 frames per second handheld mode, 60 frames per second docked. It is like there's no performance dips. There's no issues, and it still really, really, really looks good. I was like really curious as to how they got it to perform so well on Switch, because it is like there's a lot of effects and stuff that go on in the Xbox version, PC version, etc. But I just I'm not a digital foundry pro, so this is me just kind of eyeballing it. I couldn't tell you about TSAA or the different kinds of aliasing that you can do to make corners and whatnot look sharper or less sharp. I couldn't tell you that. But I can say it seems like they made some very clever decisions as far as like the kind of graphic art around the world. Like one of the cool things about Ori is that every single environment in that, everything like world-wise in that entire game is uniquely hand-drawn. Like there's no repeating texture packs or looping environments. Every tree you see is like absolutely unique and hand-drawn, handmade, which is partly why that game took so long to make. But they didn't like gut that. They didn't just start texture mapping stuff for the Switch version. It's still that game. They just kind of like the layering, the shadows of the foreground versus the background versus where the player sits. They made it everything a little bit more flat, so it looks more like a 2D game, except for Ori. She still has a kind of 3D roundness to her, and so do all the main characters. But it does have a kind of more flatness to it, gives it more of like a 2D, like I don't want to say pixel art, but like of that style. It looks more two-dimensional, where like on Xbox, it looks like you're in a 3D environment to some extent. So they flatten it out a little bit in a way that, honestly, I think makes the game look cooler in a different way. It's a subtle change, but like I said, I just kind of stared at this game for a very long time to see if I could figure out some of the stuff that they were doing to make it run on Switch. I don't know how accurate any of that is. I'm sure if Moon Studios did like a deep dive and explained it, they would have a much better breakdown of it. But whatever they're doing to the arts to make that game still look great but run well and perform well on a much weaker hardware, it turned out like stylish in a way that I wouldn't have expected. So like I'm just happy to report that version of that game is totally phenomenal. And if that's the only way you can play it, it is like a legit great way to play it, either on your TV or handheld, which is not always the case with Switch ports of some games. But much like Cuphead, this seems like it's just a match made in heaven, which makes sense why this game ended up where it did. So if you've not played Ori and the Blind Forest yet, please, please, please go play it. There's a demo also available for Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition on Switch. So you can just download and give it a shot for free. It's great. Thank you for the code to Moon Studios, and go play that game. Our book club game, video game book club podcast, you can go listen to or watch on YouTube. Our current game is Luigi's Mansion. We actually just recorded the first episode of that, where we played through the third boss, Boolossus, in the game. That game is still really delightful. I will say, like, this is the first time I've played it in about 8 years, so all of the Resident Evil influence on that game was totally lost on me, and it is heavily influenced by Resident Evil. Hey, I'm happy to report there's some Resident Evil influence in that game. But like the way the map works, the keys, the doors, all that stuff, I totally missed that when I played through it before, because I had never played a Resident Evil game 8 years ago. So it's great. It's subtle and charming in how it executes on what it wanted to do, and I'm appreciating Luigi's Mansion 1 on a totally new level. Getting really excited for 3.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Told you the tank controls for those games it works.
Yeah,
It works really well.
It does.
It's in those types of games, you need some sort of limiting factor.
It adds tension.
And when you have something that can essentially let you win most encounters, there has to be something that holds you back.
Yeah, it's a cool game. Like, even that game came out in 2001, November 2001. 18 years later, there's still nothing quite like Luigi's Mansion out there. I genuinely believe that. Aside from more Luigi's Mansion, and that's cool. I love that game exists, and that they're making more of them. I also worth noting, I've been talking about my Dark Souls journey on the podcast, but to catch anybody who's just jumping in now, could be you, I don't know. Justin Graffius, my very good friend, our very good friend, as a whole collective, has been playing through all the Dark Souls games with me. We are getting to the end of Dark Souls 2. And a big thing that I did with Dark Souls 1, that was a big deal for me. I never played Artorias of the Abyss, the DLC that they put out for that game. I've neither have I played any Dark Souls DLC. So the 3 expansions for Dark Souls 2, I had never played. I've now played all of them, almost to completion, like done everything in them. Really, really good stuff. They're all very, very cool environments. The first Dark Souls 2 DLC, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. I can't even think of what it was. The second is like this big tower, but it's essentially like these 2 towers tied together with these huge chains. Like, I'm talking like God of War size giant chains that you actually walk across multiple times back and forth between these 2 towers. It's called Broom Tower. Very cool environment. Has like these, just like some level design stuff that I had never seen in Dark Souls before in any of them. Very unique environment to that game, and also to Dark Souls as a whole, which I appreciate. I wasn't necessarily expecting to see like the DLCs to be so different. Because Artorias of the Abyss was, I would say, familiar looking environments. And the third environment,
fucking king.
Yeah. Basically, it's that over and over again. But like, it's still like Gothic architecture to some extent, like kind of medieval architecture. But the big chains and the kind of the inside, like there are these elevators that they're these giant statues of people, like these warriors, and you stand on them, and they're like hanging down like marionettes. And they're these huge statues, and you actually just ride them like elevators up across like this weird giant tower that like you're kind of going up the elevators, dropping down halfway, going through these doors out onto like the walkway around the tower, and then taking these chains across back and forth. There's one place that's similar in Dark Souls 2 to this, but very different. That's like this poisonous windmill. And this is like totally, it's almost as if they took the kind of turret, like this big spiraling area that you're kind of going in circles around, but like reimagined it in a really different way that has like this huge exterior portion that's really rad. I was way into it. Mostly like the interior design of the big statue elevators and stuff was just, I had never seen anything like this. This is really cool. So that was cool. The third DLC is like a giant icy city that is like in a big cathedral in it that is like in this giant winter like tundra, and it's really cool because you go through this city when it's under like this intense winter storm, and then once you like essentially get this item to see these things that you can't see through the storm ends, and then you can go back through the environment, almost Metroidvania-like. And all these new paths have opened up because all this ice is melted and all these obstructions are out of the way, or different enemies have shown up. And that's just cool because it's like this frozen city. I think it's called Elium Lois. Very cool. It's one of my favorite Dark Souls environments I've ever seen. Super cool, super snowy. These huge ice knights are the enemies. The first DLC I remember now is like an underground cavern with this like inverted pyramid. That is like this ancient dragon temple that this dragon was sealed away in ages ago. But what's cool is like, these DLCs are not necessarily linked to the stuff that happens in Dark Souls 2 narratively, and like either you're into the Dark Souls narrative or you're not. But it does kind of start to set up some of what they get into in Dark Souls 3. They talk about like the kind of cyclical nature of the world, and also here are these kings that no one even remembers their names. Like they just kind of remember them for these symbols or these things that they did. So like you're getting the idea like, oh, like there have been other kings and there have been other lords of the flame, and that's like exactly what Dark Souls 3 is about. So they start setting that up here in a really, really cool way. That again, going back through the franchise and revisiting it, I never saw this stuff, and knowing what I know for going forward is really rad. So like all of the Dark Souls 2 DLCs have been a treat, and I'm happy to say that. There is like what I don't like is, so each DLC has like the kind of main area, and all of them are relatively short. They're essentially like the length of one normal Dark Souls area, which is 2 to 4 hours, depending on how much trouble you have and how many bosses there are. But there's in each DLC, there's been like this side area that in the first 2 DLCs is like almost like a one-to-one kind of, not one-to-one, I shouldn't say that, but like thematically very similar to some of the stuff that's in the main game that's like super lame and is not fun. And they just kind of do it again in the DLC, and it feels like this thing that was just kind of shoved in off to the side, and it has like no thematic tie-ins to like the underground temple or the big tower. Like it's like this total throwaway side area that isn't interesting to look at. It's like a dark cave where like there's these statues shooting poison pellets at you the whole time. It sucks, and it's not fun. And the boss at the end of it, in both cases, not interesting, and there's no kind of narrative tie to the boss. The third DLC totally changed that and ended up doing something really cool of like this big wintry storm that you kind of have to navigate. And so it's like more thematically tied into the actual main area that you're exploring, and also like narratively tied into like the boss is like, oh, this is something that was referenced before. This makes more sense. Why those other 2 areas are in those first 2 DLCs, I don't know. Maybe if they needed to like pad them with more challenge, or they wanted to have like a very difficult section, but they were not fun and they weren't interesting, and the boss payoff was like barely there, if at all. So that was kind of a bummer. But again, that's not necessarily what I came to each DLC for. So the main thing was great. But yeah, I'm almost done Dark Souls 2 now, and soon we will be moving on to Dark Souls 3, which I have also not played in forever, so I'm really excited to revisit that. The other thing I've been playing came out last week. I finished it last week, but we didn't have a podcast last week, is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Nintendo Switch, which is a hell of a video game, let me tell y'all. Obviously,
All right.
Yeah? What do you want?
Is this one? Did they do anything kind of like Majora's Mask in this one?
Not really. This is much more of a one-to-one remake. There's definitely some slight changes and some quality of life stuff that they do. And like if you were looking to play this for a new experience, I don't think that's like you're gonna get what you're looking for, right? If you're like, I want a totally re-envisioned version of this game, it is still that game. All the puzzles are the same. All the dungeons are the same.
No. Well, what I'm more trying to get at is if you come in at it from the first time, can you talk to someone who's only played the original and have them not be confused?
Yeah, you can.
Because Apparently, that's not the case.
It's not the case with Majora's Mask. There's no like big new features or anything, right? Like there's
there's the dungeon creator, but I mean
that's so we'll
that's
talk
so
about
much
that.
its own thing.
That's like not good, I don't think. So we'll talk about that.
But then, like, I don't think that the other dream sequence stuff was all that good either. Is that still in? I thought the dungeon thing replaced it.
So the dungeon thing replaces the guy that takes the pictures in Link's Awakening DX, I believe. I don't know if it's in the original one. It must be because the Game Boy printer thing was a thing. But there was like a guy on the island that his house, like where he was, has now been replaced by Dampé's house, and that's where you go to make the dungeons and stuff. And I'll be honest, like I was pretty bummed about it. Like there are other things I want to talk about. We can talk about this now. Essentially, like they removed that whole, like there are narrative moments where this guy who lives in this house, who's a photographer, and he's like talking about his pictograph machine or whatever, will show up and take a picture or like a group picture of characters, and it's always like a silly moment in original Link's Awakening. All that stuff is completely gone from this version. So you don't get that character. You don't get those kind of doofy moments between characters. And you don't get like those cute little pictures of all the characters together. All that's completely gone. And that's a bummer.
I don't remember doing any of that in the time I played through it.
Some of it is optional. Some of it will just, I think only one thing has to happen in the playthrough of the game. So it's not a major component of the game. Essentially, you can do additional stuff where you go and do side quests with characters, and they'll take pictures with you at the end. And at the end of that, he has like a whole little photo album of all the stuff that you've done. And if you had on the Game Boy version, if you had the Game Boy printer, which was a thing, attachment thing, you could print out those pictures. And it was very cute. That's all gone, and that's kind of a bummer for me. Like the core of Link's Awakening is so good, and there's so much character and everything there that it's not like the game is unplayable or whatever for it, but it was a knock against it for me, honestly. That, and so like Dampé is there now, Dampé being like the guy from Ocarina of Time, in many Zelda games, the Gravedigger, and he has his dungeon builder, and it's like super lame. I think it's like actively very bad, honestly. I like engaged with it just to get a thing, like a secret shell collectible that you can get from it, but for no longer than I had to. Because so the way it works is you every time you beat a dungeon, you get like blocks from that dungeon. You go to Dampé, you talk to him, he's like, all right, here's a grid. You can lay down blocks here, and you can set it up so it's like, all right, here's a room with stairs in it. These stairs connect to this room with stairs, so like you'll know where you're going, stuff like. So there is a little bit of customization to it. All the rooms that you are using are very specifically rooms from the 8 dungeons in the game. There are no other rooms. As far as I know, there are no rooms that are exclusive to the Dungeon Maker mode. So there is nothing in the Dungeon Maker that you will see that you don't see in the game proper. So it is just like you're making these weird Frankenstein dungeons of the bits and pieces of all the other dungeons, and that is absolutely not what I want to do. If you could make your own original dungeon, that's one thing. This is literally just a patchwork quilt of other dungeon rooms from the dungeons that you've already played through. All the rooms are the exact same puzzles, and that's it, right? Like that's the whole thing. So Dampé has like different challenges for you. Like for example, I think like the easiest one to explain is he had a grid that's in the shape of a heart, and it's like the challenge is to make a dungeon in this grid, but you have to fill up the whole thing. So you have to use as many rooms as is required. And there's a little trickiness to it of like, oh, like this room in this section has to be the boss room. There has to be an entrance here. You have to have at least as many keys as there are locked doors. But a lot of that, like where the keys are, it'll just auto-populate. Like you pick a room that has a chest in it and put it down. If there's a locked door in your dungeon, that chest will now have a key in it. You don't really get to choose, right? You're not telling the game what thing you want to have in each chest. You're really only ever telling it, like, if there's stairs in a room, like, what stairs are they linked to in another room? It's just kind of lame. Like, it seems like a total tack-on thing that is not additive at all. And knowing that it is taking out and replacing this photo thing that wasn't like a big mechanical thing, but it was cute, and it like added these extra moments with these characters. So like knowing that that's gone in place of this, I really don't like it. I think it's bad. I think the game as a whole is great, phenomenal, amazing even. I don't think that being there makes me say you shouldn't play this game. But if that is like, oh, Zelda Maker, no, it's not. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's not good. I don't think it's good. I don't think you should play it. I think if you're going to play Link's Awakening, you should just play the game and totally ignore it, to be honest. Maybe some people disagree. I don't know how people feel about the thing. I've not really heard a lot of opinions about it. That's how I feel about it. That out of the way. The core game is incredible. And I say that, like it is just Link's Awakening, which is a very good video game. If you've never played Link's Awakening, just don't even listen to anything else I say here. Go play this. It is one of the most delightful, just heartwarming, heart-wrenching games with like so much character and so much personality. Like, especially like this was their first handheld Zelda, and they popped in a way that is so cool that like some of the other ones don't necessarily pop in the same way. I think they do. Like, I've been playing the Oracle of Ages and Seasons over again. I think they do like some layout of the worlds, and some of the puzzles and some of the dungeons are better in those games. But like playing this again, it is absolutely a classic. And a lot of the design and the mentality of this game totally holds up. In fact, I think it's almost better now today than it was maybe at the time. Just by like how kind of quirky video games have gotten. Like, this game is so quirky and weird, it fits more today in modern video games than I think it did in 1993. And I was born that year, so I should know what I'm talking about. I'm just kidding. The art style is great. I love how it looks. I love how it plays. I like if you're one of those folks that says like I don't think the game looks good, I don't know what to tell you. I honestly wouldn't even want to have a adult conversation with you. So the things that really stuck out to me were how they adapted a game where you're going from screen to screen to a game where you're not. So like when you're on the overworld, it is just all one connected world. You're not ever going from a screen to a screen, and things aren't like, when you look at the map, things aren't cut up by screen anymore. And that is like the thing that fascinates me the most about this game. And I really, really like it. I like how they went about it. It is just like, it kind of feels like an open world game to some extent, of like, you just kind of walk around and there's no loading or anything. But when you get into the dungeons, they have it in like these sections that are like these big rooms that feel like big rooms. And then you go into small rooms that are screens that you go through a door, and it like I don't know what the screen transition, like what that effect I would call, but like jumps to the next screen, and then you're only seeing that screen, and you go through another door, it jumps to the next screen. So they go between these kind of tight rooms to these wider areas that you're walking around and it's not moving around. And it's really cool. It feels like a modern 2D Zelda in a way that A Link Between Worlds did not. Because they kind of have a little bit more power and a little bit more freedom, it seems. And that stuff, like, I don't know if I could place it with words, but I think it's all really, really cool. It feels really cool. When you're walking around those big rooms, feels like you're in a big room. When you're in those tight corridors, feels like you're in a tight dungeon room fighting monsters. Like, they captured this new kind of feel with how the game transitions, and it's awesome. It's really, really cool. All that being said, it's a top-down 2D Zelda. It's one of the best of them, I would say. They're all kind of great, but it's one of the best. I would still say that. And it's charming as hell. The new music that they've done is like super, super stylized. It feels very islandy, but it also feels like this very faithful adaptation of the music from the original game. It still keeps those quirks, still keeps those oddities. And I really love it. Like when I finished it like the Sunday after it came out. Very tight time, but I was just nonstop playing it. I like just cried because I just love that game so much. It was I got emotional at the end of it, not because of necessarily the story beats that were happening, though they are emotional, but just like seeing this whole thing come together in a really, it's just a really phenomenal way. It's polished, beautiful, and excellent. And aside from the Dampe stuff that I do not like, it is just top to bottom a stellar video game that I think everyone should play. And it's one of those things where like if you played A Link to the Past and you kind of got it, like you don't have to play this. Like I don't think this is bringing, aside from the music and the art, I don't necessarily think it's bringing anything new to the table for those folks. But I think it's just a game that's worth replaying. I think if you've not played it in a while, you should go back and play it again, and you should play this version because it's delightful. And that's how I feel about it. I was trying to think when I played it, the thought that I have of like how do I surmise like the execution of this game? It feels like Nintendo made an indie game, and I say that in like a very high compliment way. Like this feels like a very small, very focused team that poured their heart and soul into this, and that's awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. I loved replaying this game in this form. So I don't know if that moves the needle for you, Scott. Like honestly, I don't necessarily know if you would get as much out of it as I did.
But I did play it much more recently.
Yeah, you played it very recently, and I know replaying games is not necessarily your thing. It's very much my thing. So like I don't know if you need to jump out and buy this game right away. But if you've had like a hankering for a 2D Zelda or just a hankering to play Link's Awakening again, do it. It's worth it because that game is still just great. So, but that's how I feel about it. I don't know if you guys had any questions about it. Have you played an option?
No.
Okay. I don't know if you were playing on. I know you're not a huge Zelda person, but it's very good. I honestly like after I finished it, I thought about just playing it again, like again, just starting from scratch. I'm writing something about it, not like a review or anything, just some feelings about it. We talked about it in our little conversation, our gaming history conversation option, but Link's Awakening, it was like my first Zelda game that I owned myself that my parents got for me. It's like, here's your game. Like, this is not your brothers. Do not have this. This is yours. So there's like a sense of ownership of that game and a special place in my heart for it. Even if it's not my favorite Zelda game, like I have some very small qualms with some of the dungeons, and it's just like not necessarily my favorite like world of Zelda, but it's top 5. I would say it's probably like number 5 on that list of 2D Zelda games, and it's just really, really magical. So that's how I feel about it. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we can talk about a little bit of news, see if we got some questions, and get on out of here. So we will be back in just a moment. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for waiting. Oh so patiently. No news this week. I had a change of heart. The Phantom Thieves came in. They were like, and so no news this week. I know some people want to talk about the state of play, The Last of Us. I really don't. After the discourse that has happened around the things this week, I really just don't want to talk about it.
I think you at least owe the people who listen.
True.
Start off.
So we talked about it briefly, Nabishin, off mic.
Uh-huh.
I'm very excited for The Last of Us Part 2. I'm less excited about the game after seeing the trailer that they released this week. I did not watch the gameplay demo. I do not want to. I want to play the game. I don't think the trailer did a good job of selling the parts of that game that I'm really excited about. But on top of that, I think the trailer leaned into some kind of problematic things that I'm not a fan of, to be honest. The thing is, I think it is disingenuous to what that final product is going to be. Of like, hey, let's just kill this gay character, for no reason but to put the plot forward. It's like, that sucks. And that always sucks. And it's also kind of the whole thrust of the plot of the first Last of Us. And it feels like it seems very misleading, which where we are now in the conversation where we don't know how that game is going to go and how it's going to play out is bad either way. So like, it's bad if it goes the way where this character doesn't die. It's bad if it goes the way where they do. So in a situation where it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, it's like, I haven't seen the whole thing, so I don't necessarily want to pass judgment on it, but it's not looking good. It didn't make me feel good. But there are things about Last of Us Part 2 I'm excited about. I'm still day one. I'm in Last of Us, one of my favorite games. I want to see how this story ends. That is my total opinion, I would say. I have more concerns now than I did before, and I just want to play the game at this point. That is, as a very big Last of Us fan, is I would say the biggest on this podcast, and the biggest.
No, that's me.
It's true, you do. I know, Tony. You're a naughty dog, aren't you? In the Irrational Passions editorial group, I am pretty much the only person who likes The Last of Us.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And that's fine. Now I've become the only person that likes The Last of Us. That's fine. People don't have to like that game. In fact, I understand why people don't. But that's where I'm at, feeling wise. We'll see where we go from here. I'm gonna try and not really watch anything or see anything else on the game until it comes out in February 21st. I'll be there. We'll see. I will if I'm gonna go in with as an open mind as I can, and that could go the other way too. Like, I could really not like this thing. So we'll see. It sucks that comes out pretty much the same week as Final Fantasy VII Remake. It sucks that they did that.
Not the same week.
It's very close.
It's very close.
It sucks so bad, but whatever.
I would suggest maybe listening to and not actually Huber's impression.
Huber's impression is exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah. Oh, like the way he phrased it and the way he saw the stuff that he played. I think you'll feel a little bit better on it. I felt better on it after hearing what he had to say.
That's good.
So,
and honestly, any excuse to listen to Michael P. Huber talk. But that's it. Let's take a peek in the mail sack. Remember, you can be a part of the show in a variety of ways. You can email us, mailsack@irrationalpassion.com. You can leave us a voicemail, 404-590-1337. Please, spam callers, stop calling. Or you tweet your questions at irrationalpod. And use the hashtag IPQ. We just got the one this week. I'll try and maybe schedule something to solicit some questions earlier in the week, next week. But it's from good boy Quinn Hoffman here at Quantum_Arbiter. Hey, boss man, do y'all think that Link's Awakening will be the first in a resurgence of reviving the 2D Zelda titles? What do y'all think?
A Link Between Worlds was that, and that didn't really do that much. So
it sold well. It just didn't blow up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just like it didn't like really like, like it was like every 2D version of everything had to come out after that game. But I felt like I don't think Awakening will do the same either.
Yeah, I think A Link's Awakening is going to do very well. And I think there's a possibility that we could get the Ages and Seasons games again. Tricky thing, like part of like what they talked about when they were making Link's Awakening, I think Aonuma, who's the series producer for Zelda, said like part of it was it's a 26-year-old game. They wanted to make that game more accessible on modern, like if you had never been able to play that, like there are not a lot of ways that you can play Link's Awakening aside from like on 3DS, I think.
Yes.
So there's not a lot of ways that you can get that game, and part of them remaking it was like, hey, we want to make this really accessible. Now, Nabashin, I'm gonna let's peel back some layers here, get into some game theory here. Link's Awakening remake was made by Grezzo, who also did Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And so if you look at it not as a trend of A Link Between Worlds to Link's Awakening, but from Ocarina to Majora's Mask to Link's Awakening, I think there is a possibility that we'll get more Zelda remakes. Grezzo seems to got very good at them. So I think one thing I just want is like Minish Cap to be a more accessible game. I think even more so than Link's Awakening, that game is like impossible to obtain legally.
3DS.
Is it on 3DS?
And Wii U.
I know it's on Wii U, but I don't know if it's on 3DS because I got it through 3DS Ambassador program. So I don't know.
Same.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's like a publicly accessible thing. Criminal that it's not, if that's the case.
I thought that all the Ambassador games eventually became.
I think like I don't think like any of the Game Boy Advance games of that ever became available. Which is Minish Cap, Wario Land 4, and Metroid Fusion. I think all those games would never become available because like Game Boy Advance games were never really downloadable on 3DS. So I'm not positive. You could be right. I've not like browsed the 3DS eShop recently. But to back on rails here, I think if Grezzo is going to remake more Zelda games, they're going to do the other handheld ones. I don't like. We've got a lot of Zelda remakes in recent years. Like we got Twilight Princess HD, Wind Waker HD, 3D Majora's Mask, and Ocarina of Time, and now Link's Awakening. It's 5 remakes. I think
one of them that I would be in on, honestly, would be Minish Cap.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Like, it's a very underappreciated Zelda game. And it's also, like, beautiful. I don't know if they would even have to make that a 3D game. Like, they could do a 2D version of Minish Cap. It's just, like, if they remade it or just ported it, it would look great. But I'm sure they would remake it, but...
So what do you think will be the next remake though? Like, I mean, just in general of any of the Zelda games. Like for me, I think it'll be Skyward Sword.
It's either Skyward Sword or it's A Link to the Past. The thing about Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, which is what I want them to do next, do a bundle, do a group together in my
they have to be done together.
Absolutely, and. If they do it, like, you know, if you're going to remake them, maybe make Oracle of Secrets, make the third game. Like, if there's, like, some design doc laying around, like, finish it. And, like, I don't know if you have to make them all connect to each other. Maybe just have Oracle of Ages and Seasons do that, but make the third game and have it be a third playable game.
Do you know who the director for those games were?
I knew this at one point. Was it Koizumi?
I'll look real fast.
Okay.
You talk.
Okay. I feel like it was the same director as another Zelda game. It might be Skyward Sword. But like if they do one, I would like it to be that. The reason why I'm doubting that could be next is that those are the Capcom games, and I don't know. I'm positive Nintendo owns those games, but like I don't know what Nintendo's internal affinity is for them, because they do have like a little bit of a weirdness with third-party games, or second-party licensed games, like, you know, developers that have made Zelda games. Like, it didn't happen often. In fact, like, the really only modern examples are like Hyrule Warriors and then the Oracle games and Minish Cap. But I think because of that they're just not going to be next. And plus, Link's Awakening it just happened, and they would probably maybe do that in the same style, and they would want to put a little bit more room between them. So I think it's either going to be Skyward Sword in some modern reimagining that will work on Switch, which I don't know if there is one, or the Link to the Past. What'd you find?
So it was Uebayashi is the director of those games, and he's the director of Breath of the Wild, Skyward, Band Metal Grass, Minish Cap, Four Swords, Oracle Ages, Oracle Seasons. So.
I forgot about Phantom Hourglass. I'm gonna be honest. Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I legit don't think about ever. If they remake, those are prime for a remake.
The upcoming sequel to Best for a While as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, I knew like they had a director that's been around for a while. Yeah, that OG right there. It's weird because like Enuma has like I think a lot of the kind of greater creative control of that series, and he's like the series producer. I think Nintendo does that a lot in their internal studios, but where the director is like really more, save for Smash Brothers, where obviously Sakurai is like all fingers and all pies. But Zelda is a weird. There's so many people that work on Zelda. It's a weird series. Like fun fact, like, and I learned a lot of this. Shout out to the Did You Know Gaming for A Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening, excuse me. Koizumi, who is like, he's the guy that directed Mario Odyssey. He's in most Nintendo Directs now and whatnot. He wrote the majority of Link's Awakening. And he was in Link's Awakening was heavily inspired by like Twin Peaks and stuff like that. So, which makes so much sense if you like playing that game now. But like Koizumi wrote most of that game, and most of its charm comes from him. And that's why that game has such a different flavor than like A Link to the Past, which is way more serious, and Link's Awakening is way more jolly. Very, very silly characters, very memorable characters, and that's what they were going for. So yeah, my guess is, I'll say I think they honestly remake A Link to the Past. I think it's time. The game's never been remade. It's been ported to GBA with some extra stuff, but a full from the ground remake of A Link to the Past could be enormous. And I think it would take a while, and it would be a couple of years. And I think that these remakes are going to be a couple of years apart still. So that's my guess. I'm sticking to it, but boy, just do Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. That would be great. It'd be so great. That's it. That's the show. Thanks, Quinn, for sending us a question in. Send us your questions in. I'd love to have like a nice thick mail sack segment in the future. Now, Tony, I want to know, have you ever played Link's Awakening?
Nope.
Do you have any interest in playing the remake?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd play it.
Okay. I was just curious. Just some other quick stuff as we get out of the show here. If you like the show, you should follow us, Irrational Pod on Twitter, Irrational Passions on Instagram, irrationalpassions.com is the website. We do a lot of stuff, a lot of fun stuff. A lot of streams on twitch.tv/Irrational Passions. A lot of video reviews on irrationalpassions.com/YouTube. You can watch the video version of this podcast there as well. We do a lot of stuff. And we do a lot of other podcasts, including Input, a video games news show, which is coming back very soon. Very excited about that. RPG University, which is Scott White's RPG podcast, where he brings on guests to talk about their favorite RPGs, reenact a scene from that said RPG, give helpful hints and tricks on it, and a video game book club, which is Scott White's other show, and that's where we play through a game as a group and talk about it. We're playing through Luigi's Mansion right now. After Luigi's Mansion, it's actually going to be the end of season 1 of Video Game Book Club, and we're going to take a little break. So, very excited. I'll shout out a couple specific things. Listen to Alex's gaming history, which is Nabish and I talking about me growing up with games. Rational Passions Presents is a general podcast feed that you can subscribe to on all your podcast platforms, and it's great. It's like a potpourri of Rational Passions ideas. Sometimes we talk about games in a critical way. Sometimes we talk about our gaming histories. Sometimes we talk about our top 50 games of all time. Sometimes we read articles that we've published. It's everything that you could possibly want. I want to shout out, Jarrett wrote a feature about Dicey Dungeons, which is another in a long list of deck building games that have come out this year that Jarrett's really dug. And we did video reviews. Mike did video reviews for Mutazione. I don't actually know how to say it because I've never had to say it out loud. And Children of Morta. He liked both of them quite a bit. And you can watch those videos on YouTube. That's it. That's the show. We've reached the end of the show, which means only one thing. It's time for bets. Tony, it's time for bets.
The era is over.
The bets era is over?
Yeah.
Damn.
I know. I realized you looked at the camera and then I looked at you, but I realized that you didn't know that.
Just gave you a down look,
I was look at Alex, and then Alex just keeps staring. I was like,
oh shit, it's over now. Well, either way, it's time for bets. Nabashi, you got this week's bet. What you got?
Actually, I kind of forgot about it.
Okay.
But, it should be something with Destiny 2.
Ooh, yeah, Destiny 2. This is a good one. Fun fact, Mike Burgess and I are going to be streaming Destiny 2 Shadowkeep all goddamn day on Tuesday, which is when this podcast is going to go out. So it'll go out Tuesday morning. 1 p.m. Eastern is when Shadowkeep goes live. So if you would like...
Maybe your account?
I think Mike is going to be streaming, so it'll be his account. But
no, I mean, the bet should be viewer count, maybe.
Oh, viewer count of Destiny 2 as a whole, Shadowkeep. That's a good one because I don't know what it's at right now.
I have no idea.
I'll double check because I know a lot of people are really excited about Shadowkeep, and I think to be fair, Destiny typically has pretty good pickup when its big things happen. But there's just something to the excitement around Shadowkeep that I feel is new and fresh. It seems like a lot of people are coming back in now that maybe missed Forsaken. Yeah, it's not even in the 2,000 plus viewers on Twitch right now. So let's
not even really. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is we're all just waiting. We're buying time because a lot of systems are going to change. Oh, there it is. Actually, okay, it's 7.9 thousand. Cool, but a lot of things are going to change day one when Shadowkeep drops. Here's the thing, Nabashin. It goes live Saturday, October 5th. The raid for Shadowkeep. So I can guarantee Destiny viewers are going to be buck wild on Saturday. So I believe the raid is going to go live at reset as well, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. We record typically about 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and we would cap up at around 11:30. I think that people are still going to be going. So I would bet it's going to be pretty high. So I think that's a good one. Let's say, how many viewers will be watching Destiny 2 Shadowkeep on Twitch this time next week. Whoever wants to go first can go first.
41,000.
Nice guess.
11K. Just to have the low one.
Bastard. Oh, he's going for that low one. Scott? 85,000. I don't know. Like I was originally gonna say like 52, but I'm gonna go
Just
big.
go with that flat 52, man.
No, I'm gonna go big. I'm gonna go 111,000.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, you said what? 80,000?
Yep.
Say you go low, Nabashin, I'll go high. 111,000. 111K. So it's 41K from Tony, 11K from Nabashin, 80K from Scott, 111K from myself. How many viewers will be watching Destiny 2 First Second Live or Shadowkeep? Last week's bet. Oh yeah, this is 2 weeks ago. I'm glad I let this sit for a week because I think it's just going to be that much better. In the first page of most helpful Steam reviews for Untitled Goose Game, how many times will I see the word goose in the body of review text? Now, Steam's like most helpful reviews page, I would generally consider not super helpful. Like there's a lot of situations where it's like, oh, this game's getting review bombed because somebody didn't like a thing that the publisher did or whatever, you know, like a lot of times.
Isn't Goose Game exclusive to the Epic Game Store?
Oh shit, it might be. We might have to look at most helpful Epic Game Store reviews. I don't.
Do they have that?
I'm sure that they have some sort of review system. They might not. You're right, but we'll see. Let me see. Let's pull it up. I feel like I have no idea like what's PC exclusive at all. Like I just maybe I can't be bothered to look, but let's see. Do follow specs about game. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have any, at least not on their online store, any reviews.
I don't think they have user reviews on Epic Game Store yet.
Damn, we have to kill the bet. That's such a bummer. I guess it is coming to Steam in 2020, so we'll just delay the bet till then. Which means no points this week. I said 30. Scott said 1. Tony said 3. Scott White said 6. So I guess we'll factor that in a year from now. But the score update, just in case anybody forgets, we had a week off. Team about to bust a bet. See, now I'm saying if you had been here, I would have caught that mistake. I wouldn't have been such a fool. Team about to bust a bet, 27 points. Team doubling down, 23 points. Still close in the grand scheme of things. I think this has been the most kind of competitive we've ever been. Which just means y'all are just getting better at betting, which I love. That's what I love to hear.
We're just all worse.
Or we're all worse. That's fair. I don't like to think like that normally, Tony, but you know what? Sure.
When the shoe fits. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out, watching, listening, vibing, hanging out on our mobiles, whatever you do. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Thank you, Nabashin, Tony, Scott, as always, for joining me. I love you boys. Big hugs all the way around. It's been a minute since I think all four of us have been together, actually. So I very much appreciate this. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay irrational. We will talk to you all next week. I could feel the look that you were giving me, Tony. I want you to know. I felt it in my bones. Titles?
Yeah, it's just a sec.
Tony, have you played Tetris Effect?
Me?
It's on PC.
I don't have a VR,
You don't need VR to play it.
but you need VR to play it.
I mean, I would recommend it if you could manage it. Is that on Oculus and Vive?
I don't know. It's on Epic Game Store. That's the only reason that I know.
I think I follow David Jagnow. I don't know if you know who that is, but he does a lot of VR coverage for games. I think I saw him talk. It is on Oculus to some extent.
That but might not happen.
What, the Untitled Goose Game one?
Yeah, Steam's new policy.
Oh, what did they change?
If you release a game on any other platform within 30 days, you have to post it on Steam too. Or not at all.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yep.
When did that happen?
A month or so ago.
I gotta look into this.
It's like an.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I haven't heard about this.
Policy revised.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna fucking forward this to Bossman.
Originally something similar, but nothing else. But they did that to essentially say, yeah, if you hop ship to Epic like you've been doing, your game's never coming out over here.
Yeah, real talk, do that.
Yeah, I might, because if that sounds
Titles.
Yes.
That was your first mistake. Fucking with people. That's so Tony. How do we fight more? All fingers in all pies, and bet delayed a year.
All fingers in all pies is very much an Alex O'Neillism. I get it.
Yeah, I'm voting for that one.
All fingers in all pies. Okay.
Same.
Oh shit!
What do you
Legend
like?
of Zelda Wind Waker's coming up next, and then Blood.
Ooh, Wind Waker speedruns are great.
Wind Waker is pretty good, but Bloodborne's my shit.
Yeah.
And Shovel Knight is playing right now on this. The stream's pretty good shit.
What do you like, Tony?
I like all fingers in all pies.
All right. I was gonna say that's so Tony because I just think it's funny, but all right.
I will not be compared to a Disney Channel show.
Fair enough.
Hey, don't loop me in with this shit.
That's so Tony. Who wants to say the episode number? It's 441. Ooh.
This is the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 441.
All fingers in all pies.
I don't have enough fingers.
That was good. That was good, Scott. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We love you all. Have a very good night. And done.